What's going on, boxing fans? It's Julian Williams with The Distance. I'm back with another video. This one is another fantasy matchup, number 47, coming up on number 50, which is definitely going to be out this week. This matchup is Quarry versus Rocky Marciano. This is actually another matchup that I came up with on my own, though I do have quite a few, and I do have a couple treats for you tomorrow as far as fantasy matchups go. So, in a matchup like this, how does this play out? Well, basically, what you have in this matchup, you have two come-forward fighters. You have two fighters who are definitely going to be coming forward and fighting. This is going to be an actual brawl, if you ask me. What you have here is you have a slugger / brawler in Rocky Marciano, who pretty much knew how to work his way into the inside, knew how to get his shots off, and knew how to find a way to get these shots off. But at the same time, Rocky is fighting a counterpuncher, a come-forward counterpuncher, which is somewhat rare in the heavyweight division, having a come-forward counterpuncher, and on top of that, a counterpuncher who has a very good chin and could take some good shots on the chin. Quarry was a very good fighter. In this era now of heavyweights, I bet you Quarry would more than likely at least hold a title at this weight class if he was in this era now. Quarry had a very good chin. He had very good timing and had very good countering skills. And other than that, he was in the ring with some of the best heavyweights of that era: Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, George Chuvalo. He was in the ring with these guys, and he actually gave him hell. But the problem is, in these fights, he would get cut or hurt. But with Quarry, he didn't have an ounce of quit in him. He wasn't really a quitter. He had the type of style where he would come forward and pretty much he was just one of those type of fighters that liked to fight. But he knew how to sucker you coming in. He knew how to make you throw the shot. He would feint coming in, and he would time you with the counter right hook. He was very good at throwing the right hook and timing and getting it off correctly. He was kind of a master at that, especially in the heavyweight division. And pretty much Quarry's skill among some of the best heavyweights of all time is a little overshadowed because of the era that he fought in. He fought in the era of Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and Ken Norton. These guys pretty much overshadowed him. But at the same time, he wasn't able to defeat these guys. So that may be one of the reasons that he is overshadowed by these names. But at the same time, he did give him hell. He did give some tough fights. Though the '69 fight with Joe Frazier is perhaps one of the best I've ever seen, along with the fight against Ken Norton. The fight with Ken Norton remains as kind of an underground classic, if you ask me. With all the heavyweight fights that happened in the '70s, that's definitely a fight that needs to be mentioned. Because in the '70s, we hear a lot about the Rumble in the Jungle, Thriller in Manila, even Holmes versus Norton. We even hear about Frazier versus Quarry, Frazier versus Ellis. And I don't even know if that was in the '70s or not, or Frazier Foreman. We hear about these matchups. But one of the matchups that definitely is along those lines is Quarry versus Norton. Very good fight. And with Rocky Marciano was a come-forward slugger, knew how to get his shots off, knew how to get on the inside, and did a very good job of getting on the inside. He fought Edgar Charles, who I believe is one of the another underrated fighter as well. Rocky Marciano had a record 49-0, 43 knockouts. And Rocky pretty much set everything up sometimes off the straight left, and will follow it up with the right hook. That's pretty much his main punch, was the right hook. That's what he was using to put people to sleep, was the right hook. But he would set it up with the straight left. And with that straight left, Rocky pretty much, if it hurt you, he would follow it up with a right hook and then a left hook. I'm saying if he hurt you with the right, he follow up with a right hook. I mean a left hook, excuse me. And pretty much that was basically how he would end his fights. Was he would basically maul him with the right hook, and I believe it was a right hook that knocked out Jersey Joe, that basically put him to sleep. But in a fight like this, I do see both Rocky and Quarry coming forward and basically battling it out, and both fighters cut very easily or whatever, and it'd be pretty much be a bloodbath. It's kind of in the same vein as Corrales versus Castillo back in 2005 in May. I think this would be a kind of an inside fight in that same vein. But if you ask me, I do see Quarry giving Marciano hell in the early goings of the fight with his countering ability, but I do see Rocky coming forward and eventually getting the technical knockout in round 9. I just think that Rocky will continue coming because he was in great shape, and he did have the style where he could just continue coming forward and continuing the pressure, and I think he'll go to the body and work up to the head where possibly he'll be cut, which Quarry will possibly be cut. But I do see Quarry winning the early rounds and giving Marciano hell with his counter punching ability. But he did do a good job of sucking you in with that feint, and I do think Rocky would commit to that feint and he'd probably get countered coming in. But I just see Rocky Marciano winning this fight by technical knockout by rounds 8 or 9. Somewhere in the late goings of the fight. And back then, it's kind of midway through the fight back then. But anyway, that was my fantasy matchup. I got Marciano TKO. That was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.